Now Lewis is going to argue that the very existence of us rational beings begs for an explanation. Are we such that we have self-existence, or do we need a cause? That's the question. And the kind of cause that we would need, we're going to see, is a kind of simultaneous cause. So we start off with what we've already proven, that we, rational beings, are not the products of nature. We've already proven that by showing how naturalism is self-defeating when it tries to explain reason itself. The minute nature explains reason, reason ceases to be rational and therefore is not reason anymore. So then our next question is, well, where did we come from? Where did these rational beings come from? Are we such that we have existence in ourselves, that we don't need anything to cause us, that we have the kind of existence that the naturalists would ascribe to nature as itself, the whole shebang? It just exists in itself, has its own existence, and doesn't need anything to cause it existence? Or are we the kind of being that needs a cause? Well, when we look at ourselves, we realize that our reason gradually develops from when we're children, and that we start off not as rational at all, and that our rationality therefore has a beginning. And not only does it have a beginning, but it comes to an end every night, doesn't it? We fall asleep, and several hours a night at least, we are not rational. And then we come awake and reason starts again. And so what we see here is that we don't have the kind of existence that would be self-existent, because if you can lose your existence and gain it back again, then you need something to have given you that existence. You didn't have it on your own. So since we have a beginning, then it follows that we don't have existence in ourselves, and therefore something has given our rational selves its existence. We are not self-existent. We need a cause. But we've already determined that this one general feature of whatever caused us, and that is that this being, whatever caused our reason, cannot be non-rational. Because if it was non-rational, then our rational processes again would be the cause of non-rational processes, and they would cease to be rational. And so therefore, our cause has to be a rational being by what we proved in 1. So now this rational being either needs a cause or is self-existent, right? And we could keep doing this, and it seems that we could keep doing this forever. Maybe there's this infinite chain of cause and effect, right? No, because reason itself is something that needs time to take place, right? It requires, what we have to say is temporal thickness, because it requires consciousness. And by requiring consciousness, it needs duration, because a momentary existence could never have a perception, and therefore could never understand anything. And so therefore, the process of reasoning that we would need in order to be rational requires that whatever is our cause is the cause of our continued existence, not just our momentary existence. And so, therefore, it's the kind of cause that is similar to the cause of the shape of the liquid in this bottle, right? Therefore, it's a simultaneous cause. What causes our reasoning is something that maintains our powers of reasoning while we reason. Well, if this chain was just an infinite chain of everything needing something to maintain it forever on to infinity, then everything would need an explanation all at once, wouldn't it? And what you would have, therefore, is a certain kind of situation where everything would need a power to cause something that it doesn't have until something else helps it. And that's absurd. A similar example would be cars in a train, right? We're not talking about the locomotive, but the actual train cars. So now imagine you are by a train track and you observe this string of train cars moving. Without looking into the horizon, you can't see anything but train cars. Looking behind, all you see is train cars. You're not going to say that stretches to infinity, because you're going to ask the question, what caused the movement of this car? Well, obviously, the simultaneous movement of this car. The minute this thing stops moving, this stops moving, right? If this thing wasn't moving, this wouldn't move. But what caused the movement of this? Well, this one. This wouldn't move unless this was moving. So this is the simultaneous cause of the movement of this car and this car. You really can't say this is the cause of this movement. You really can't say this one either, right? Because it doesn't have motion in itself. Neither can this one. So imagine you said, well, this goes on to infinity. Then you would just push the question back to infinity. You wouldn't answer the question of why any of them are moving at all, because none of them have the power to move on their own, right? So if you have this infinite chain of rational beings, none of them having the power to reason on their own, it doesn't matter how long you stretch the chain out. There would be no cause, no explanation as to why any of them are thinking at all. And so therefore, just like the chain of cars, there has to be something that has existence in itself. And this being, we've already proven, has to be therefore the supremely rational being. Why supremely rational? Think of it like this. This is the source of all reason. This rational being, therefore, is the perfect reasoner. What is perfect reasoning? The ability to grasp and understand all truth. And so what we discover is if we stop with the self-existent rational being, this is a being that thinks on its own, needs no other wisdom or rationality to help it understand. And so therefore, this being would be supremely rational. Well, we already saw that such a being would have to be eternal also, because if it had a beginning, if its existence wasn't incessant, as Lewis called it, then it would need a cause. And so since this is a being that nothing can give it existence, but it is the source of existence of everything else, it follows that we have this eternal, rational being that is the source of all rationality and therefore supremely rational. You might call that such a being omniscient. That is to say, maximally knowing of everything, able to grasp all truth, since every other being's ability to grasp any truth in the limited fashion it does grasp it is dependent on this being that has reason in itself. Our next question is this. All we've shown is that there has to be this being that is an all-knowing, eternal being. We haven't shown that such a being is the creator of the world. Is there evidence that the creator of reason that invades nature is also the creator of nature itself? Lewis wants to argue that when we consider all the other options, the most rational option is to say this eternal reason is the creator of nature herself. We will get into that in the next segment.